All right, so for this video, I wanted to talk about how the non-human element is the only thing that matters, right? Because I was thinking about this as I was, I think that, there are multiple times where I'll get down sort of rabbit holes on the internet where, I'll get involved in like, being concerned about racial issues. I'll get concerned about, like the gender war, like men versus women, the red pill, the manosphere stuff, political stuff, right versus left, right? And I was thinking about this, how like the internet, like the algorithm, or the algorithms on the internet during these, in these various social media apps, they reward divisiveness primarily. And I was thinking about how this rewards or, it supports the prison planet. It supports the prison planet because what it does is it's a divide and conquer tactic. This is probably the oldest tactic that's been used on this prison planet. It's the oldest tactic that's ever been used by. I need to come up with a name for the. Maybe I'll call them the Prison Planet Consortium or something. Maybe I'll call it like, maybe I'll do like an X Files thing where it's like I call them the Syndicate, right? But this syndicate uses divide and conquer. This is why these non-human entities, these reptilian entities, these demonic entities, whatever you want to call them, gray aliens, whatever, right? The non-human element is the only thing that matters. It's the cause of humanity's problems is the non-human element. But their oldest tactic, the syndicate's oldest tactic, is to focus on is to hide, first of all, hide the fact that they exist, right? Which is why they shapeshift in appearance to look human, to pretend to be one of us. And number two, the oldest tactic is divide and conquer. What they do is they keep us fighting amongst ourselves. They create new false flag operations. They create new ways of getting human beings to be mad at each other, to create infighting essentially, so that we're distracted from the true cause of all our problems. And this is why, like the hiding of the non-human element is like their biggest thing. It's the biggest thing that they're concerned about. It's the biggest thing that this cabal, right, this prison planet consortium, right, the biggest thing that they're concerned about is hiding the fact that they exist, hiding the fact that there are anti-human, non-human, entities that are in these positions of powers, and people, and a lot of like political discourse, a lot of conspiratorial discourse is stuck in visible light. It's stuck in three dimensions. It's all about right wing versus left wing, and at some level it's like, oh, is it the tiny hats, is it the Freemasons, is it the central bankers, is it the Knights Templar, is it the Illuminati? But eventually in the power pyramid, the human level intersects with the non-human level, and to me at least, this is the only thing that matters. It's like and if you haven't watched the movie They Live, you should definitely watch it, because like whenever, but it's the movie with the sunglasses, right? But like whenever Roddy Piper puts on the sunglasses and he sees that there are non-human bug aliens walking around, and that these are the people in positions of power, these are the people on the TV, these are the people that get promoted. There's a scene in like the grocery in like a I think a grocery store in the movie where there's this guy who's talking about like, man, why don't I ever get promoted? Why don't I ever get my big break? And he's talking to this non-human entity, and he's like, hey, you'll get your chance or whatever, right? So this is what happens, is that they promote their, like, this non-human entity race promotes their own people into positions of power. It doesn't promote human beings only get in the power structure, in these secret societies, human beings only get limited privileges, right? Yet again, the power pyramid intersects with the non-human, and this is the only thing that matters. The cause of all our problems, the cause of every single problem. It's not that like, oh, women ruined everything, or men ruined everything, or oh, it's about black people, it's about white people, it's about Indians, it's about and even I know that like the tiny hats are a big part of the control system. That is a huge thing. But even then, like the tiny hats are only like one level of the rabbit hole, the rabbi hole, right? But yeah, the tiny hats, the Jays, they're only one part of the rabbit hole. Like even the tiny hats answer to non-human entities. Okay, so even at that level, you're still at the level of visible light. You're still at the level of arguing with or infighting with like the human element, which is a distraction. But even when it comes to like the tiny hats, I do think that like when it comes to the tiny hats and when it comes to like the royal bloodlines, they have certain genetic code that they try to keep pure, and this is why they do inbreeding. This is why they do incest in the royal families, right? And I do think that there is also this level of trying to keep genetic purity in the tiny hat tribe. And so I do think that there is a possibility that the tiny hats have some fallen angel Nephilim reptile DNA inside them. I think that that is a huge possibility. But yet again, like the cause of all our problems is the non-human element. The non-human entities are the only thing that matters. And so I think that this is sort of like a reminder to not let the algorithms sort of draw you in to infighting. Don't let the algorithm draw you into the same old tactic of divide and conquer, to get involved in right versus left, male versus female, black versus white, because this is a tactic that is being that has been used for thousands of years to control humanity from these non-human entities. And I think that humanity's problems would be almost solved overnight if everyone knew, like if everyone on the planet knew that these entities existed. Like if you gave everyone the sunglasses from They Live, people would start to see, oh right, like because there would be there'd be a pattern, right? Everyone in power, oh my, oh, he's a lizard person, he's a lizard person, that's a lizard person, that's a reptilian, right? And you'd start to see that, and this is why I hate whenever Rick and Morty atheists and like people who are nihilists, right? Like what they do is they say, oh, humanity is self-destructive, right? Like, no, like if human beings were the only ones on this planet, things would not be orchestrated this way, things would not be organized this way if it was only human beings, right? People say, oh, human beings are greedy and human beings are bad and human beings are like blah 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 blah, right? But this is like but as soon as you add the non-human element, as soon as you acknowledge that there are non-human entities in charge of things, and then all of a sudden it makes sense. Like everything, like the governments, the corporations, the systems in society are inherently anti-human because they are created and run by anti-human, non-human entities that are antagonistic towards us. And that's where it starts to make sense. Everything clicks into place once you realize that it's an anti-human agenda. It's an anti-human, non-human originated agenda. And this is why I say the non-human element is the only thing that matters. The only thing that matters is the non-human entity race. The only thing that like it's the thing that if you topple that, everything else follows. It's the thing that will topple the house of cards. Is if people, like, because everything else comes after that. Everything like the loosh harvesting, the energy harvesting that's being done on this planet, the reincarnation trap, the hijacking of religion to get people to trust these entities after they die and leave the body, right? The like the experiences that people have in sleep paralysis, the experiences that people have on UFOs where they get memory wiped after they get implanted with something, during these abduction experiences, right? Like the satanic rituals on the private islands. All of this stuff clicks into place once you see that's like the first domino tip that ruins the system. Is if people put on the sunglasses, right? People put on the They Live glasses, right? And they see the non-human element, which most people don't see because people are stuck in visible light. They're stuck with what they can see with their eyes, what they can see on the internet, what they can see with with their devices on the internet, and they're stuck in this level, right? And I think that there have been changes made to our genetics and to our DNA in order to make it so that the astral level and other spiritual dimensions are invisible to us. And this is why seeing auras, seeing chakras, going out of body, remembering your dreams, becoming lucid in your dreams. This is why all of this stuff has been made to be difficult for us to do on purpose, because I do think that there, like the whole 95% quote unquote junk DNA, like all like, oh, like the human genome is made up of 95% junk DNA that doesn't seem to do anything, right? Like, I think that there's hidden code in there that does something, that it does something that these entities are afraid of. And I think that there is, and this is one of my more schizo beliefs. Okay, is I think that there's a reason why human beings are attracted to superhero movies. Okay, I think that there's a reason why we're interested in the idea of flying, telekinesis, telepathy, psychic powers, is because I think we subconsciously know that this is something that we're actually capable of, believe it or not, right? And if you don't believe me, maybe I'll put a link below this video, but about remote viewing. The CIA did a program about remote viewing, which is the ability to see to distant locations. Okay, and that was the first. Like it's a documentary on YouTube called Third Eye Spies, and this was the first sort of thing that I saw that got me down the rabbit hole of psychic abilities, of the power of the mind to influence reality, like the various paranormal abilities that you see with people throughout history. That's what got me down the rabbit hole was Russell Targ's documentary about remote viewing, right? And that's why I'm so interested in lucid dreaming and the out of body state. That's why I'm so interested in that right now. And I've been interested in it for a couple of years now, is because I do think that that is an important faculty to activate. But going back to the original subject of this video, there's a reason why these entities hide themselves from the humanity. There's a reason why they make it difficult to see into the astral. There's a reason why they make it difficult to see them, is because once people see a lizard, the jig's up. Once people once once Donald Trump shapeshifts into a lizard, it's fucking over. It's over for them. As soon as people acknowledge the non-human element, right? As soon as people realize that there are entities, intelligences other than us that are running things that are antagonistic towards us, I think that's the key. That's the first domino that topples everything. It topples the house of cards that everything is built on. And you can see the desperation. I see the desperation in the social media tactics, in the divide, in yet again the divide and conquer tactics. They're putting out the Nick Fuenteses, they're putting out the Andrew Tates, they're putting out the Hassan Pikers, they're putting out the Vouches, they're putting out they're putting out all of these political commentator people that say the most ridiculous things to get attention, to divide people, to keep people fighting amongst themselves, right? Like you have like the black fatigue stuff, you have the Indian fatigue stuff. All right, so for this part of the video, I also wanted to mention that there is a lot of anti-white rhetoric online as well, but you get the point, right? You have like the manosphere stuff where it's like, oh man, women suck, women ruined everything, and then you have on the women's side, you're like, oh, men ruined everything, we need to fight the patriarchy, and so you have men and women fighting against themselves. You have men and women fighting. You have people of different races fighting, right? You have like yet again just like a constant ways to divide humanity amongst themselves, because if humanity's too busy fighting, right? If the goys are busy fighting, they won't see that there's lizard people to see that there's lizard people to kill. There's alligators in the government, right? And that's the whole point. Like they're getting desperate, because I think that there is an awakening happening on this planet. Yet again, I think that I think I said this in a previous video, which is that a lot of the conspiracy theories that used to be taboo are common knowledge now. And so I think that this cabal, this consortium, right, is ramping up the divide and conquer tactics. I see this on social media, right? I see this on like the control opposition people that they put out, right? And specifically, like the ones that I've seen the most are Nick Fuentes and Andrew Tate's sort of old news at this point. But it's the same thing. It's yet again, what do they do? They don't say stuff out of conviction for what they believe in. They say stuff for shock value. They say stuff for the algorithm. They say ridiculous stuff in order to get attention and in order to divide people, because that's what the algorithm rewards. The algorithms on social media reward divisiveness. They reward hate-filled content, because that's what the cabal wants. That's what this consortium wants. That's what these archons, these entities, that's what they want, because they want people focused on each other, focused on fighting each other. Right? They want the goys to fight amongst themselves while they run away with all the loosh, all the energy, all the energy harvesting that comes from that infighting. Right. So I think that this is a pattern that I've noticed, and I think that this is like sort of a message or I guess like a reminder. If you're watching this, don't fall for the divide and conquer. The only thing that matters, keep your eye on the ball, keep your eye on the goal. The only thing that matters is the non-human element. Keep your eyes on the non-human. Keep your eyes on the non-physical, because that's where every problem that you have in this physical life, every problem with the systems of government, the system, the corporations, the way things are set up, the financial system. All of your problems come from this non-human element. So don't fall for the divide and conquer tactics. Don't fall for the alarmism, for the political right versus left stuff. Okay, the only thing that matters is the non-human, non-physical element. Keep your eye on the ball, right? But yeah, that's the video.